Oh, it is a chilly Wednesday evening, and I know it's only the end of November, and normally I can tell you I do all my Christmas shopping the week before Christmas. But Mum got email today saying they're giving away champagne at Bentall's in Kingston for an evening of Christmas shopping, so we're going to go and see if we can find anything interesting other than the champagne. We found the champagne, and how incredibly festive, may I say, to be drinking champagne amongst the washing machines and the dishwashers. Oh well, but I have found an absolute gem. Unfortunately, this is something that everybody I know who eats runner beans or grows runner beans, I've already bought it for, so it's redundant, but I'm sharing it with you. This thing is the absolute bee's knees. It's got to be the one by Crisk, because I've bought a knockoff version before and it was pants. But this here is a joy. If I can find it on Amazon or an internet link for it, I'll put it in the description, because anybody you know who grows runner beans, this thing will change their life. Well, surprisingly, I don't feel like this has been a wasted trip. I did get one Christmas present, but I'm not going to show it on here because she'll see it. But still, not a wasted evening. And I am feeling surprisingly festive. See you at the allotment tomorrow. Oh, it is grey and soggy today, and we're coming in the other entrance to the allotment. Actually, we went round the other way. Ooh. But it is so damp. The air is saturated. It's been raining solidly for like 2 days, and yeah, very, very damp. Right, I'm not going to walk all the way around the other side. I'm going to try and hurdle over this defence system I've got in place here. Mum's carried it out. She's going round the other entrance, which I think is probably quite sensible because I nearly came a cropper there. This is the side entrance that we've been using. This is where I'm supposed to be putting the gate. If I can actually get round to putting those blooming fence posts in, that's where we're going with the gate. Oh yeah. We have a bit of an obstacle course in the shed at the moment because this is the cover for the swing seat. We've stashed it in here and it's a bit of a pain. Last couple of days Mum's been super busy. Look at all that weeding. This is the flower bed that was just completely overrun with grass, and she's done an amazing job. All of this area was absolutely thick with weeds. You couldn't see those stepping stones we've got in there. You couldn't see the bare soil. She's really stripped it out. It's fantastic. We're going to get the wildflower seeds in here next year, and fingers crossed they work, because 2 years ago, brilliant. Last year, fail. Although these have been beautiful this year. A load of nice stuff. Good morning. Well, actually, that's completely lie. I started with a lie. It's not the morning, it's the afternoon. We were meant to be up here super early this morning. Tons to do, going to be action stations, and then it just never happened. What did we do instead? I don't know. But a couple of jobs we do actually have to get done today. So Mum is on the greenhouse. She actually did that yesterday. She spent, I wasn't here yesterday, she spent a good couple of hours washing the whole greenhouse inside and out. And it's dried and looked like it hasn't changed a bit. It's still absolutely filthy. So she's up here this morning with a vinegar water mix and a bit of newspaper, so she's going to try scrubbing that. So that's her job. I'll give her a hand with that. She's actually on it at the moment. Can you just see her through there scrubbing away? At least it's warm in the greenhouse. And I am going to tackle, you know, last week that we cut down the main asparagus bed, so that's all ready to go. Well, normally we would mulch that with manure, but we haven't actually got any manure this year. Not quite sure what happened. We normally get it delivered like early autumn. I don't know, we just never ordered it. So we don't have any manure, but what we do have is loads and loads of leaf mould from last year. So it's like the partially rotted one. So normally leaf mould takes about 2 years. This is 1 year old leaf mould, and I'm going to empty the bin that's at the top there, use all of that, so kind of deconstruct the bin, use all of that to mulch the big asparagus bed, and then I will start collecting leaves and refill it. Constant cycle. I can't hear what she's saying. She's chatting away. What were you saying?
This looks like it's still got stuff on it, but it might be on the outside.
So the glass is actually pretty clean, where it was all washed off with soapy water yesterday. I think what's left on there is lime scale from using the hose for misting the plant, so it's probably on the inside. Let me feel, is it on the inside or the outside?
I can't tell.
It's inside.
Is it all inside? Is it?
I'm pretty sure. Let me just go and have a look.
This is one I've done.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to leave Mum with her vinegar and lime scale action mode, and I'm going to attack the leaf mould bin. And first problem I've got is that we've been using, as the leaves have kind of rotted down, so they get smaller and smaller. This bin was completely full at the beginning. We have been storing all of our plastic bags in this box, so basically it's just absolutely full of plastic bags. So I've got to find somewhere to put them first. I might just dump them on the other compost bin for the moment though. Well, that's looking pretty good. I'm really pleased with how well rotted down those leaves are for just 1 year. So although putting leaf mould down isn't really like for putting manure down, because manure is really rich in nutrients, the leaf mould doesn't have much in the way of nutrients whatsoever, but what it will do is really help improve the structure of the soil, and it will also provide a mulch against the weeds for the rest of the winter. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Right, while Mum's got her hat off, I'm going to show us your golden locks, Mum. Another sign that we are getting back to the pre-COVID days. Mum is blonde again.
The tree ate my hat.
But those cut ones are the ones that go on top of the leaf mould. We haven't ended up using all of this actually. There was more than I thought there was, which is a pleasant surprise. It's normally the other way around, isn't it? You think you've got loads and then it turns out it's just like a little tiny bit in the bottom of a box. But anyway, we've got tons of it. So we're going to put what's left into a bag and use it later on. And then it is time to start collecting leaves again. First outing of the year for the big hands. Oh, main job for the day, done diddly-un. Fab. I was just walking past, these cabbages, these red ones that we bought as plug plants are looking really fantastic. And even the sprouting ones that are completely got out by the pigeons, look, they're starting to come back in the middle. So, fab. Might even get cabbages. Tell you what's not fab though, look at this. Somebody is nipping off the top of my beautiful field beans. Look at that. Yeah, not cool. Loads of them have gone too. Look at this. Yeah, I'm not very impressed with that. Who's doing that? There's two. Oh, got my finger stuck in my hair. There's loads of them in that corner as well. Pants. Couple of options of what it could be. I mean, it could be something like a cutworm that's in the soil, but looking at it, I think it's probably mice. Not much you can do really to keep the mice out unless you go full on with some sort of wire box, which I don't have, but what I do have is the EnviroMesh box that was over the carrots. Maybe if I peg it down, it might stop them. I mean, if it's in the soil, it's not going to, but if it is the mice, maybe. It won't cover the whole half a bed because this is made up for the size of those slatted boxes, which are quite a bit smaller than these beds, but at least it might protect some of them. Ooh, it's grey and moody. I think we're going to pick something for dinner and call it a day. It's not particularly cold, particularly not if you're raking, but it's so grey, so dark and windy. And I've got to do something about my fingernails. Actually, oh, they look quite clean on there. They don't look clean in real life. I've got to do something about my fingernails because I'm going out tomorrow for lunch with British Garden Centres. Yeah, maybe I'll paint my nails. Happy Friday! My nails are clean and painted and we are off to go and have lunch at the Savoy for the Garden Media Guild Awards.
From my winter hell, I've got candles and candy. I can be your daddy if you own. Creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way. Try to stay true. Just speak low, stand in your row. Try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow, way down below, oh, it's a lot of woe, and that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you not to choose. I want you to stay true.
And to the judges, for your diligent deliberations, thank you. To the Savoy team, lunch was delicious. Thank you all very much indeed. I think you're getting involved. Roy Lancaster, board presenters, and to our patrons, thank you. Take charge. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Fergus Garrett and our sponsor.
Thank you, everybody.
Good afternoon. Can I just say it's lovely to see your legs. We've had 2 years of seeing the top half of everybody, and you've got some fantastic pins amongst you.
Will you please welcome Rosie Irving and Michael Marriott.
Sometime in the future.
And the winner
And it is a great privilege to welcome to the stage one of my horticultural heroes, a holder of the Garden Media Guild Lifetime Achievement Award, amongst so many other accolades, the powerhouse of plants. Please welcome Roy Lancaster, CBE.
Matt Biggs, great to see you here.
He's inspirational and always a little bit unexpected. Please give a warm welcome to Tom Leonard and our sponsor representative.
It's my first time at this event, so, well, it's lovely to be here. And these are the judges' comments. You know, it's so lovely to be here without having a corset on for once, honestly. And the winner is Gardener's Corner Special.
Not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy.
Please welcome the wonderful Alan Titchmarsh, MD.
Baby, don't refuse my cue. I want you to stay true. What's right for you? No matter who, oh, and know what will others say. Just find your way and try to stay true.
Oh my god!
I hoped he was going to say fluid mustards, but he didn't. Do I sound a bit pissed?
What a fantastic way to spend the day. And Liz and Niall won, which is brilliant. And even better than that, I made it back in time to watch the football. See you tomorrow. Come on, you girlies. Come on. Morning. 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 It is the most beautiful day today. It is so bright outside though, and it's still quite early in the morning. Well, I say early in the morning, it's not actually, it's about 11. It's not early, but it feels early because there's still so much dew on the ground and the sun's reflecting off it, and it's like absolutely blinding out here, but it's gorgeous. Yeah, so first thing to say is whopping thank you to British Garden Centres. I had such a good time at the Garden Media Guild awards ceremony, that's it. And huge thank you to Amy and Boyd for inviting me along with British Garden Centres, because that was amazing. And I'm actually going to go and visit one of the British Garden Centres, which is nearby us in Osterley. I'm going to try and do that like in the next couple of weeks. So we'll go and have a look around what they're up to there. Yeah, so that was incredibly good fun. What are we going to do today? Really, I'm just up here to pick some stuff. So last week I said I was going to do some charred bargies. I'm going to pick the stuff for it now, and then the video is going to come out on Wednesday. But I'm also going to have a bit of a look around. I want to go and check under the Enviromesh box that I put on the field beans last week up in that top bed and see if any more have been taken. I have a bad feeling. But I'm going to go and check that out, have a bit of a nose around, a bit of a tidy up, and then that's about it for up here today. It's funny because we've had 2 weeks of like high octane, getting loads done, and then this week a very little. What did I do? I mulched the asparagus this week and I went out and had a nice time. Oh well, swings and roundabouts. That's what happens when you try and put out a vlog every single week. Sometimes there's not a lot of gardening in it. Anyway, let's go and check on the field beans and pick some stuff. Oh dear. Yep, more have been taken. I still think it's mice though. It looks chewed at the bottom rather than, you know, just like a clean cut, like a cutworm or something. So that is sad times on the field bean front, but hopefully they'll leave the majority of them and they'll still do their job and we'll still get something to eat off them. Hopefully. Because the mice just want the beans that are underneath, so they're just nipping off the growth and then stealing the beans, I think. Poo! Poo. Also must remember to pick the last of these achocha. We've got some pretty big ones on here, which I'm going to save the seed from. Because look, the plants, yeah, they're really going now. So these are not going to last too long. So I will whip the last of those off there and probably take this down. Actually, I was just going back to pick up the secateurs to cut the achocha. And the same thing's happening in this bed. This was fine last week. This wasn't being affected, but now there's lots of little field beans lying on the surface. And can you see that one that's still got the bean attached? Like, that's why I think it's mice rather than cutworm, because a cutworm just like takes it straight off at soil level. It definitely looks like something's digging them up and cutting them off. Something that is looking pretty good is the spinach that's under here. It's really toasty warm under there at the moment, so I don't really want to lift off the cover to show you, so I'm going to try and get really close and see if you can see in there. Can you see that? Are you going to focus? There we go. Yeah, so the spinach is coming on along nicely, so fingers crossed we will have some spinach to eat really early spring. Well, looking around, there's so many jobs to do next week. I'm going to strip not only the achocha off the arch, but I'm going to strip these off as well. This is the tromboncino. It made me laugh last week. So obviously we did the taste test on the tromboncino, but I very deliberately cooked it as plain as possible, just with salt and pepper. I got so many comments from people saying, oh, you should have put this with it, should have put that with it. I just wanted to know what the thing was going to taste like, dead simple. So when we do cook it again, obviously I will spice it up a bit. Still no sightings on the onions that I planted last week, but that's only to be expected. I'm not particularly surprised. One good thing though, the netting, there doesn't seem to be too many like indents where anything's been digging in here, so I'm optimistic. And I'm also optimistic about these shallots. Have a look at these babies. Are they not looking fab? I'm really pleased with them. You can obviously see that I never got round to doing the swap out with the garlic and all that kind of stuff. I've just left them in here. But don't they look great? Everything is so soggy up here. Look at that. I need to do such a tidy. Got to get these paths sorted because they're just turning into a long-grassed mud bath. Sort that out. But I am pleased with how much we're still picking from the allotment. There's masses to eat up here, so I can't complain. Even those transplanted zinnias survived. Okay, so what with having a myriad of different chards to choose from, chard bargies, I'm just going to go with the perpetual spinach Bietta chard. Because it's green, it looks better. I know that's a bit silly, but I did make some once with the dark purple chard, and it just didn't really like the look of it very much. I'm also not going to do the Lucullus, which is the really pale green one, which is underneath that box. I'm not going to do that one either because that wilts away really quick. It's almost like spinach, you know, it goes really, really soft when you cook it. I want something a bit stronger than that. So yeah, it is going to be the Bietta, can't even say it, perpetual spinach. But anything like, you know, Ford Hook Giant or any of them. And in fact, the purple one tastes just as good. It just doesn't look as good with the beetroot, you know, I'm just being fussy. Putting the bits and pieces away. So this is the other tromboncino. You can see this one's much darker in colour, and it's really darkened up since we've had it sat here in the shed. So I've got high hopes for this one. I think it's going to be much improved. Got those three as well, which is nice. Okay, we're just about to head off, and then we've incredibly kindly been invited round to some sort of hot dog scenario that's going on someone else's allotment. I think they've lit the barbecue. So we're going to leave our allotment, girlies are away, take the goodies, and go and have a hot dog. See you later, girlies.
Really interesting.
Honeysuckle is still looking beautiful, and when you walk along this path, the smell is so strong. Such a great honeysuckle, this one. Right, hot dogs. Hot dogs. Oh, cheers, chaps. Oh, those hot dogs were so good. Totally un-allotment related food, but really, really welcome. You know, when they're just like straight off the barbecue and you're freezing cold. Hot cup of coffee as well. absolutely perfect. Yeah, so weird week this week, like I said earlier. Sorry we didn't really get much allotmenting done. Next week I've got a lot of things I want to get done at the allotment. There's a lot of clearing, so there's going to be a lot of paths. Obviously, from now until what feels like eternity, there's going to be a lot of leaf raking, which I won't film because, my word, is that not an interesting thing to watch. It's not even an interesting thing to do, so I won't be filming that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff next week. Clear the arches. Couple of them, because you know those arches are like the super cheap ones that you can get off eBay or Amazon or wherever. They're like a tenner each. They don't necessarily last that long, and some of those we've had for 4 years. I think even one set we might have had for 5 years. 4 years. It's got to be 4 years, isn't it? I think 5 years is a bit excessive. Yeah, 4 years. But the bottoms are starting to so I'm going to have to do a bit of bolstering for them before spring. But when I'm clearing the beans off, I'm going to kind of check how bad it is, because they might be quite bad. But you know the 4 that are along the edge, well, I'm going to move them over, so I don't know if I need to replace anything that, you know, if any of those arches are really just completely shot, because they might just be being held up by, sorry, I'm rambling here, but when we put them in was when just after our original polytunnel had been kind of screwed up by the wind. So I had a lot of poles, and I hammered in poles next to them, so kind of like gave them double legs. And I've got a feeling that some of them don't actually have any of their own legs left. It is just the polytunnel poles that are holding them up. So I'm going to double check that. Might have to replace them. But that's something I might do next week. Obviously going to be getting rid of... Oh, do you know what? I completely forgot about picking those Achocha. I said I was going to do that earlier today. Completely forgot about it. So that's on the list. But we've got quite a few things that are happening non-allotment related next week as well. It's not going to be more going round to dinners and fancy lunches. They're more things that are just going to be like interrupting the week here. So we have a bit of a problem in our kitchen. So, you know, last year I started doing quite a lot of including stuff in the cooking in the vlogs. Well, our kitchen's really quite fine for filming that. It's got big windows. Obviously, I was saying last week, like the lighting, now it's getting dark at like 3 o'clock, isn't so good. But other than that, like it's quite a good kitchen to film in, except we have got a fairly major problem with the floor. So we have a collapsed floor in the middle of the kitchen. I don't know if you can... So we've just got a board across the floor. That's actually a board that I took out of a skip from a primary school that was closing down the road. And the guy, which has been fine, like with a board over it, it's been absolutely safe. I mean, I've put my foot through it a couple of times, but not too bad. But the guys are actually coming to dig up our floor next week. So it's going to be a bit of drama on that front in the kitchen. I'm still going to do the charred bargees recipe. You'll just have to like witness me skirting around like with no floor in the kitchen, but you know, it'll be fine. If you see me disappear through, you'll know what's happened. But also there's just some, I rent a garage because I used to have a workshop in Woolwich, like an arts workshop. I rent a garage now in Kingston, where I store all the stuff that used to be in the workshop, or half of it, because half of it's at Johanna's, which I've also got to clear out. It's just madness. So the roofs are being redone at the garages that I rent, and so we had to clear one garage out into another garage while they re-roofed it, and now we've got to move it back this week. All of the stuff in there, apart from one item, easy as pie to move, no problems whatsoever. Unfortunately, I have a kiln that, it's like a tank. It weighs an absolute ton, and it's top heavy because it's on legs, so you can't really do anything with it, you know. You can't, you know, when you would kind of move something that's really heavy, you can kind of rock it. You can't do that because it's on these stupid legs. So next week is going to be floors being dug up in the kitchen. I have to move everything out of one garage into another, including this stupid kiln. Next thing on the list is then I've got to move my stuff out of the garage at Johanna's, which is also stuff that used to be in the workshop. It's going to be a really mental week next week. Yes, it is. And then it's Christmas. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So we're having the floor dug up in here. I'm doing Christmas dinner again this year. We got quite a lot of people coming. are we even going to have a kitchen? Because they're having to take everything out, because it's the floor, the joists that have gone in the floor, everything has to come out of here. Like the oven's being removed, the fridge is being taken in, all of the work surfaces on this side, the cupboards and everything is being taken out, and they're going to have to like fix all the joists and get the floor in. Do we think that's going to be done by Christmas? Do we? I don't suppose too many places are actually doing takeaway on Christmas Day, are they? So that might be interesting. Yeah, we've got a couple of mad weeks coming up of like work in the house, lots to do at the allotment. I really want to start putting more cooking on here. Like I say, so this is another thing I was saying last week. God, I'm really rambling. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm chilly. I'm like, yeah, so what I was saying last week about the chard and beetroot recipe is going to come out on Wednesday, because I want to sort of try and diversify the videos that I'm making a bit. Because when I include the recipes in the vlog, which is all well and good, like I'm quite happy to do that, that people can't really find them. You know, that's the problem with the vlog. Like if I do something, you know what, like if you're looking for info, like these vlogs are more like just kind of just watch it and see what happens rather than looking for something specific. And I think sometimes like I've had so many messages from people like, oh, I know you did a recipe that was like, I don't know, with some probably chard, because everything's got chard in it. But you know, oh, I remember you doing this recipe, but I can't find it. And can you remember which vlog it's in? Now I can never remember what's in any of the vlogs. Like I should be keeping notes on everything, but I'm not. So actually going back and finding them is really, really tricky. And so I'm going to try and like shuffle the recipes into their own, I'm not going to make a different channel or anything. They're just going to be their own separate videos, which kind of tie into the vlogs. I'll talk about them in the vlogs or whatever, but that they'll be kind of searchable on their own, you know? I just think that would be more sensible than just jamming it all in the same place, which is what I normally do. Anyway, on that note, chaps, that's what's happening the next week. It's going to be quite the interesting one. I've got to throw in another thank you to British Garden Centres. Amy and Boyd were incredibly generous to invite me along to the award ceremony, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I was absolutely thrilled for Liz and Niall, and then getting to watch Tom give out an award was really exciting. Yeah, it was just so nice to see so many people that you know by face, and Tanya and Niall and Rachel's allotment. Oh, everybody that I sort of thought I could spot on the on the video, or people that I saw there. I will put their like links underneath. Lots of them were Instagram. I don't know if there's much transfer between YouTube and Instagram, but you know. Anyway, I'm so rambling. Thanks Amy, Boyd, thanks British Garden Centres for sending me along to the award ceremony. I'm going to have finished this glass of wine. I'm going to go and wrap myself in a duvet because I'm absolutely freezing, and get ready for next week, which is going to be a mental one. Cheers, chaps.